Welcome, Homeworthy. My name is Ruth McKeaney, and welcome back to Hillside Farm. Right now, we are standing in part of our ruins, and in this area, we are going to be doing our Easter brunch. Who doesn't love Easter, right? We get to kick off spring and all that it entails. In this episode, we're going to start out in the kitchen, where we're going to prepare an overnight French toast casserole that you can prepare ahead of time for your guests. We're going to go on to do an egg and sausage casserole that will please everybody. And then we're going to come back to these ruins where my friend Lynn from Charlotte has come in from out of town. She does tablescapes professionally, and she's going to transform this area for the brunch. Please join us. It's going to be a great episode. I'm Ruth McKeaney, and this year I'm inviting Homeworthy to join my family for all of our annual highlights at Hillside Farm, our 305-year-old farmhouse steeped in history and love. After decades of flipping houses, my husband Bob and I settled here where we raised our 5 children. We welcome your company as we share in the simple pleasures of life at home. I'll offer tips from my book, Hungry for Home, to help infuse your own home with moments of joy, filling home-cooked meals with flavor for the whole family, and of course decorating with amazing antique finds. So sit back and make yourself at home.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
All right, we're in the kitchen. Welcome back. This is such a fun time of year. Easter, if you were to ask my kids their favorite, overall holidays, Easter would be one of their very favorites. And there's a certain reason. For 50 years now, we've done a tradition of a hunt. And I thought it would be fun this year, though, to do some other things as well, and that is having some friends over with their younger kids and doing an egg hunt on the property. But we're going to start out preparing a brunch that they're all going to have when they get here, and that is a French toast overnight casserole that you can make ahead of time so that when you do have a lot of people, it's a breeze. But at first I'm going to take off this sweater because I think I will definitely ruin it with these sleeves. And put on my fun apron that Bob made for me that says Hungry for Home. All right, so this French toast casserole is fantastic, which is why I asked my friend Susan for the recipe. Ordinarily, French toast is one of my kids' very favorite breakfasts, and we always use this brioche bread. But this recipe has a little twist to it. You can do it with some cream cheese and you add blueberries. It's fantastic. All right, in this recipe, you can use either challah bread or brioche. I chose brioche because Trader Joe's, and no, I'm not getting paid for this, Trader Joe's has the best brioche bread you can use for French toast, in my opinion. It comes pre-sliced, and then there's a little paper around it. You take that paper off. It is already thickly sliced for French toast. And there's just a hint of sweetness that just makes it better than any other bread for French toast, I think. So we're gonna start out, we're gonna take 8 eggs, and as you can see, these are from my chickens. That's why there's so many colors. All right, we'll start out with 8 eggs into a pan. Do you know a trick when you drop one of these shells? Take a large shell of the egg and fish that in. That little piece will come right to it because of a membrane in here. Just something I learned a while ago. We're gonna take a teaspoon of vanilla. I like to keep my vanilla in a jar like this. And by the way, I'm gonna show you these new measuring. I was given a gift. Actually, it's where I met my friend that you'll be meeting today, Lynn. She's up from Charlotte, and she was co-chairing this event that I spoke at. And they gave me the most beautiful gift bag. And in it were these measuring spoons. And what's different about them is they're magnetic. So they stay together. They never get all separated and you can't find them. And there's even a leveler on it. They're just the coolest. All right, so a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm gonna add that to this. We're gonna take a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon and add that to the eggs. Obviously, I go through a lot of cinnamon. And a tablespoon of powdered sugar. Add that. And a 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, which I keep in this container. And I'll just kind of eye that. And finally, we're gonna whip that. I'm gonna whip that up by hand. And while I do that, I'm gonna explain who Lynn is. I was so honored to be asked to speak at this event down in Charlotte. It was called Come to the Table. And Lynn Pitts and the other co-chair had come up with this idea. They named it Come to the Table because they thought the art of having people gather around the table is getting lost, and how to do it beautifully, and how to curate the space and who's at the table. And I thought the concept was so beautiful. I immediately said, of course, I'll come speak at it. They had a few hundred women, and what they did was they invited the top table designers in the city of Charlotte and had them come to this country club. And in one of the ballrooms, these designers each chose a table and completely designed the tabletop. And in the other ballroom, they had a luncheon that I spoke at. So Lynn came from that, and she so graciously said she'd come up here and do my Easter episode with me. And she's going to do both an adult table and a children's table. And she just has great ideas. You can take from it what you want, throw away what you don't want, but she's just so amazing at it. All right, we're gonna take 2 cups of half and half. Do 4 of these. 1, 2. I've chosen a bowl to prepare the egg mixture that's got a square bottom so that when I dip the French toast, you're not like pushing it all down, you know, into a regular bowl. All right, so here we go with this. We are ready for the next thing. What I've done, get a 9x13 pan or something similar and go ahead and grease the bottom. You can do it with butter. I used coconut spray. Put that, I've already prepared that. Put it right next to your egg mixture so that you can transfer it and not make a mess all over everything. And you're going to take the French toast. Take your while dipping it because it's different than my normal French toast. You want it to actually sink and soak in. Now, this recipe ordinarily calls for you to put it in your fridge overnight so it really gets in there. But for purposes of TV, we won't be doing it overnight. I will set it aside for a while and then bake it. But, all right, that looks good. I'm gonna put that in there. This recipe is so good. It's almost like a French toast bread pudding. And the cream cheese just makes it just a little decadent. So you can pair this French toast recipe with anything. Now I'll be doing, you know, a whole mix of berries. You can put the berries on top. I'm going to be putting blueberries on top and then putting berries into a small, like champagne glass on top of each plate. It depends on if you're wanting a really fancy brunch or a down-home feel. After talking with Lynn, she brought up all her wares, and we are opting for a kind of a fancier event because I usually don't do that fancy out there, so it's kind of fun to switch it up. All right, so I've got the French toast. I'm gonna add a couple more. I'm gonna actually slice this in half as best I can with my fingers and make it stretch all the way to the sides of this. Once this is all here, you're going to take heavy whipping cream. So an additional whipping cream. You're going to take a 1/4 cup. So I'm going to take half of this. Ready? And I'm going to just drizzle this in all of the kind of the corners so that it's going to end up going on the bottom and soaking up. Now I'm going to take 3 tablespoons of butter and I'm going to cut them up into little bitty pieces and I'm going to stick them in all the different little holes. So that's about 3 tablespoons. And again, what I like about my friend Susan's recipe is that you can prepare it the night before so that if you've got a lot of people to take care of, it's so easy. This part kind of reminds me of my sweet rolls where it's all coated in butter on the bottom. If you're wondering how many people this serves, I would say 6 to 8, because you're not just having it as French toast. Well, maybe 4 to 6. I used almost an entire loaf of that bread, but that's 7 full slices in here. And if you're my son, you're going to eat 3 of those. If you're my daughter, you might eat half to 1 slice. So it just depends on what your eaters are like. All right, now I have 3 tablespoons of cream cheese, and this is kind of a little secret component. You're going to do with the cream cheese what you just did with the butter, and you're going to cut up little pieces of it and put it in the corners. It just makes it a little decadent. It's really fabulous. It's different. When this is all done, you can add a little powdered sugar on top, maybe put some softened butter on top, and use whatever maple syrup that you would ordinarily use, and then top it with blueberries. Now, while we've been doing this, I have had the oven on 350 degrees, so it's already preheated. I'm going to put this in the oven for about 20 minutes. For the first maybe 15, I'm going to let it go. Then I'm going to cover it with tin foil just so that the edges don't burn. And again, I am not a big baked French toast person, but when she made this, I had to have the recipe. I'm going to go ahead and put this off to the side while I make the egg casserole recipe. That way it gets to soak in everything that it needs to soak in, and then we're going to put it in the oven. But ordinarily, you're going to cover this and put it in your fridge overnight, so it just everything kind of marinates together. All right, so now it's time for the egg casserole. We love eggs at our house. We get them all the time from the chicken coop. So anytime I can use eggs, I'm happy to. Egg casseroles I'm a little picky on because I don't love the breading or the potatoes in them. So this one works so well, especially since I have daughters who avoid the carbs and want the protein. So it's the perfect recipe. Now, I'm gonna start out by take 2 pounds of pork sausage, put them into a pan and fry it all up. You're going to go ahead and drain the grease out of that. I've already cooked mine, and what we're gonna do is I'm going to add a bell pepper. You can do half a yellow one, half a green one, half a red one. It needs to be total 1 whole one, but it depends on how much color you wanna put in your eggs. I just did 1 whole red pepper. I went ahead and diced up. I'm gonna add that to this and put it on medium heat because I'm just gonna soften the bell peppers. And again, it's already been drained. Here we go. Now, oftentimes what I'll add to this recipe is about 4 green onions, the long green onions, and I slice up the onion portion and go ahead and put that in this as well to soften that up. I didn't today because one of the people I have coming can't have onions. So, but it is something that you can add to it. So while this is cooking, and I'm going to go ahead and cover it as well. It's so pretty. The red just adds so much color. And while we're doing this, I'm going to prepare the egg mixture. I've got 12 eggs you're going to put in a bowl. Go ahead and break those up. So this is the time of year, I think, if you were to ask most people, I think they'd say spring is their favorite time of year. It's not my favorite, but I do love it because of what it's going to bring. There is so much activity that happens here during the spring because you've got to get all the gardens ready. The flowers start to bloom. It is a showcase outside. I feel like God is showing off in the spring. So it is just so much fun. And this spring and summer, we're going to have a lot of fun guests come to be on the show. You'll see Eileen again as she shows me different projects in the garden. And then we have a potting shed that I have never redone. And we're going to go ahead and kind of make a fun, cute potting shed. I might paint the floor. There's just some fun things that we're going to be doing. And then we're going to host some fun events outside. We're going to just get some fun, creative things going. All right, I have almost 12. Let's see. 2 more eggs, 3 more eggs. It's amazing the cost of eggs right now. It's good to have an entire flock that we can go collect from. I'm gonna whisk it. You can use a hand mixer. Go ahead and mix this all up. And to this, we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of milk. And the fun thing about this is as well, you can make this ahead of time as well. Anything you can do in advance to make your life easier, I'm a huge proponent of. All right, a cup of sour cream. And if you remember, we use sour cream in my quiche recipe as well. Keep mixing that up. We're gonna take a tablespoon of kosher salt, which I have right here. I'm gonna put that in there. And I'm going to take a teaspoon, which is right here, of pepper. Now I've already done, you can do a 9 by 13 pan. I've chosen to do 2 8 by 8 pans because I might freeze one. I don't know how much we're going to eat, so when you don't know in case, just make 2 pans. And you go ahead, and I coated it in an avocado spray. All right, to this, you're gonna go ahead and do 2 cups of shredded cheese. Whether that's, you can do mild cheddar, medium, sharp. I chose a medium. And again, I shredded the cheese myself. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but in your grocery store, if you buy cheese that's already shredded, they coat it with a wax coating and it doesn't melt as well. So go ahead and buy the block, take the time, shred the cheese. You'll be much happier with the results. All right, so we're gonna add 2 cups of shredded cheese. Mix that up. And to this, we are going to add our sausage and bell peppers. Let me get this out of the way. Set this. Smells so good. And I don't even need a strainer because again, it's already drained. I'm gonna add this. Just stir it up. We're gonna pour it into these 2 pans. The oven's at 350, and we are gonna bake this for 35 to 50 minutes. And why the wide range? Every oven is different. And I have to be honest, I can't even use my big oven right now because I was cooking for a bunch of people the other day. And after hours of slow cooking a roast, I went to check it. It hadn't gotten above 200 degrees. There's something wrong with my big oven. After 12 years, I have to have somebody come work on it. So my point is ovens are temperamental, and some cook fast, some cook slow. So just start checking it around 35. You don't want it hard and firm because it will keep cooking after, but you don't want it jiggly like it's not been cooked. All right, we're gonna pour these into the 2 pans I have. And we are gonna put these in the oven. All right, putting on a sweater. Let's head to the barn. Lynn's down there. You'll meet her, find out a little bit about her, and we'll set the tables. Come join us. All right, I'm so excited. We're now in the barn. Gosh, it's windy outside. And we are going to meet my friend Lynn, who drove all the way here from Charlotte to absolutely make a beautiful Easter table. And this is Lynn Pitts. How are you? I want to hug.
Oh, I love this. This is so fun.
Isn't it? So Lynn and her husband Ralph came up last night, and I can't tell you how much fun it was. Actually, it was pouring rain outside.
Oh my goodness, what a storm.
What a storm. And we unpacked all of these things that she has collected for years that are stunning, and just said, okay, let's figure out how you want to set this table tomorrow. So it's so fun to have somebody else think through a tablescape, because I am so bad at tablescapes, and she is unbelievable at tablescapes.
But it's just fun because we started with the children's table, and we have all the fun things to put out on the children's table this afternoon. And of course, Peter Rabbit is part of the children's table, and so we have a little specialty with that. And then you've got I just love this. To me, this is such a pretty and elegant luncheon, dinner, evening, afternoon, brunch opportunity to display everything from silver to gold to the candles, which you're not supposed to light during the day, but we might anyway.
We might anyway, although it's so windy, it might not matter.
Yes.
But we started out where she literally said, what do you want the feel of this event to be? And I often don't do super formal. And there's something fun when you combine the ruggedness, I don't know if that's the right word.
The rustic,
the
very
rusticness
homey,
of the stone
beauty
and all
of,
that.
yes.
Yes, with elegance.
Yes.
And so we decided to go with elegant tableware. So talk us through, and first of all, I also want you to explain, you've collected these things for years.
Yes.
When did you start
None of this
all
happened
this?
overnight. A lot of it happened when we had an anniversary and Ralph gave me the silver goblets, and then he'd found it in an antique store.
So how long ago was that?
Oh, I'd probably say 20 years ago,
20
maybe
years.
even 25 years ago. And so there were 6. And so that sort of began my passion to start collecting them. And just every now and then at at flea markets or antique stores, I would pick up 2 or 6 or whatever. And then I had a wonderful gentleman in Charlotte that would hand engrave them. And he just did exquisite work on them. Where's the one that we love? This one. And
they're all different engravings.
Yes, all different engravings. And then I started at having my children's names put on them.
But you collected them over time, which
Yes.
I love, because the other thing that you did that I did is one of the godmothers, Kim, of one of my children, once a year for years would send me one silver napkin ring, and none of them matched. But it was so fun, and you've got them. You've done the same thing.
Exactly. When a great thing about it is when I have my mother's and I have my brothers, and I've sort of done that. So it sort of makes part of a table a memory maker.
Yes.
So when they're gone, I still have this beautiful memory of them sitting at the table with us. So it's really special, because my mom would probably eat us Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter. She was always there for the holidays. And so that was really nice to have her initials there. And then when Jimbo and Lucy got married
and those
7
are 2 of
years
your
ago.
kids.
Yes.
She has 5 kids as well.
And
she has 4 sons and a daughter.
Yes. And so when my daughter got married, I found these in gorgeous. There were 1,800 napkin rings, and then I had their initials put on them.
Wow.
They're these, and they're gorgeous, and they just have detail and marking on them, and they're just really pretty. So they're Jimbo and Lucy's. Someday I'll give them to them, but not now. They're
but
mine.
What I love is, even if not all of us can go out and buy several of these at one time.
Oh, no.
So
No,
it's
no.
okay to collect them over time,
Yes.
very slowly, because they will hold a story.
Oh, exactly.
You know the story behind this one.
Exactly.
And I love that. The other story that we kind of talked about last night, you have unbelievable napkins.
Oh, I love napkins. And then you said you were a linen person also.
I love linens.
Yes.
And so she brought these napkins. Now show us this napkin.
This one is just a really pretty monogram Lincoln. It's a double P on P, but I do like linens, and I think that's fun to have a monogrammed, and sort of makes the table really special and brings a light to the table.
One.
But here again, I know that everybody doesn't like monogram napkins, but I think they set the tone of the table.
Yeah. So here's what I love, and I shared with her this story. I was at a wedding last year, my friend Lisa's daughter Abby's wedding, and the head table had the most exquisite linen napkins with the bride's new monogram done on them. But none of the other tables had these. It was 12 napkins that had been done for the bridal party.
How wonderful.
And I said, why don't we have those napkins? And she said, I had them made for my daughter, Abby, her daughter, and then she got to, after the wedding, after her bridal party used them, she got to take those 12 napkins home. And they are exquisite. So it's just, I mean, if you didn't grow up, like I didn't grow up where my mom did things like this, and it's just, and I love that you use them. It's not, they're not meant to be put into a linen closet and nobody touched them.
And even if you don't like monogramming, they have them now where you can just have a design on them. You can pick them up anywhere from,
You can do flea markets and get,
exactly,
yes.
you can. And then actually just, Home Goods and those kind of stores will have pretty napkins. It's just, they add a punch to the table, and they set the tone over a paper napkin or a paper towel.
I know. I love this. She's drawing now. I was like, we've got napkins. She's like, no, we're using Real
Exactly.
napkins.
All right, I have to show you this. So I love to put flowers in pitchers and all different shapes of pitchers. And pitchers are not just for drinking water, but they're just fabulous for flowers and arrangements. And of course, Ruth's beautiful flowers from her yard. The daffodils are stunning, and the tulips. But this had a P on it, and I found this at the flea market, and Lucy was with me.
Her last name is Pitts.
And my last name is Pitts, and Lucy said, I'm going to get that for you for Christmas. And so it's just one of my favorites. It's
I
so
love
pretty.
it.
Yes.
So she brought water pitchers, and I was like, so we need water pitchers for all our tables? She's like, no, we're going to put flowers in them. So I love that she's creative. Even this, tell us a little bit about this. So
Yes.
we went around my yard yesterday and cut everything we could find.
We
and
did.
we went to Trader Joe's, which I love to get flowers at Trader Joe's
Yes.
and they had these beautiful peonies that are starting to burst.
Yes.
But what is this container?
The Lenten roses I picked from Ruth's yard this morning, and I'm sure she wasn't quite sure what I was doing. But this is almost what you would carry, a little bridesmaids would carry her tussy mussy. She can carry her flowers in it, or it can have candy in it sitting on the table. But it's just a pretty, and it's silver plate, I think. And so it just adds a little touch. Not everything has to be silver. Even silver plate's really pretty. But it was not expensive. It was at a flea market sale, and I just think it adds a touch to a table.
And did you put
I put
Oasis?
a paper cup. No, it's a paper cup.
That's
and
right. You asked me.
Yeah.
So she asked me for a little cup. So I
Cup.
found a little plastic cup.
That's in the bottom
It's
of
in
it.
the bottom of it, and she just shoved all. We didn't even use Oasis.
Right. We just stuck it in there.
Stuck it in there. So there's so many fun ways. Okay, what other stories? Now, we wanted to make it dressy. I have to tell you, so she has, place cards that she's got so many different
Yes.
kinds of place cards.
Because I think when people know where they sit at the table, they're, especially when you
Takes
have
the
people
stress.
that it takes the stress out of it, and if maybe everybody doesn't know each other, it presents an opportunity for them to make friends, but it also presents the opportunity that they're not awkward when they come to the table. They find a place to sit. I think I told you that I picked this tray at a flea market when I was out of town, and the girls I was with said, "How are you going to get that home? It won't fit in your suitcase, and we're not helping you carry it." And I carried it on the airplane home, and I just loved it.
It's
I polished
gorgeous.
it up. It was at a church antique market or junk shop,
Yeah.
and I just polished it up. And I just think it's pretty for displaying things on it. It's for, you can put flowers on little vases on it. You can put bread on it. I mean, I just think it's kind of versatile.
For
so
everything.
It's really pretty. Yeah.
And then for today's brunch, we chose this amazing china that
Yes.
she has collected over the years.
This was not my wedding china, and this was not something I got as a gift, but here again, when we were in Atlanta at Scott's, there was a vendor down there that has this china, and so I started with, I think, 4 place settings.
Okay.
And then I've just kind of added over time in Christmas, and it's been gifts, and Ralph's given it to me, or my children have given it to me. And I just
Because people are going to ask. It's by Heron.
Yes.
Which Heron probably makes my favorite china.
Yes.
There is a green one that is stunning too, but this one just kind of fits with the property.
It
So
does.
we chose this.
birds.
My little story on my china. Bob and I had to pay for our own wedding, and so I registered for the Lenox Eternal, which is a cream with a gold rim that we never used, and I don't know that I ever loved it, but I knew it. I didn't want people spending a whole lot of money on my china.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
there was a time in our early marriage where I was unpacking it so many times, we weren't really using it, so I sold it. And I sold all of the Lenox Eternal. But now I'm wanting to start reacquiring and here's the fun thing. You can do just a salad plate and put it on top of just a bone white china.
Yes.
So that you don't even have to get every piece in an entire.
No. And you can also just do these for dessert plates.
Dessert.
And just have several different dessert plates on a table. So, and this looks so pretty with solids and pretty flowers. I mean, I've mixed it where I have a dessert bar or something, and I'll put all these different plates there. So it just makes it just pop. Yeah,
awesome.
the sparkle.
Then she brought multiple different glassware.
Glassware.
What we're going to be doing later is putting some fruit, berries, in that on top of this as the starter. So layering, I think, is a big deal.
It is. And not everybody likes to layer, and they don't want a cluttered table.
I know.
I just think it's more, to me, it makes it more fun and engaging.
Yeah.
You can do it either way you want to. And so I like I hear again, I'm layering it with the candies.
Those are little Easter eggs.
Easter eggs.
And
So-
we chose a candle that's like a light pink, so it kind of goes, because I think we're also doing these
We are.
goblets. which are the green.
They were a gift from my boys for Mother's Day one year. Isn't that sweet?
Wow,
Yeah,
they're
that was really
beautiful.
sweet. They gave those to me. And then I love mixing the silver and the glass.
I do too.
And here again, these are inexpensive but beautiful. They were and they go to a modern twist to it.
Yeah, that's what I like. It actually is a completely different look from
the traditional, the silver and the traditional looking one that was the grandmother's, and so that's kind of fun to add and mix.
All right, now I'm going to bring you down to, we're doing a children's table, so we have some kids coming that we are going to go ahead and do an Easter hunt.
Yes.
And you and I went out yesterday. We went to Five Below.
Exactly.
And we bought these little baskets. You put these ribbons on, and we're going to send them to hunt for eggs inside of the ruins. But you had so many fun things. You had all these. Well, first of all, tell me about these plates.
Oh, yeah. These are pretty. These are just a very inexpensive, pretty green trimmed plate that I found on a website, and I just think they're beautiful, and they come in blue, and I thought it was really special. They have matching salad plates, but I loved adding the color, and this to me screams Easter. With the pinks and the greens and the yellows, and so this will be on the table, or the children can just use this for their plate.
Yeah.
And then here again, like I said, we've got
the
little dessert plates for Peter Rabbit.
Peter Rabbit, and you're going to mix these green
and
napkins.
mix the green napkins in it. And then, of course, we added all the little special things, the little rice candies and the little egg nested cookies, and just some
and
things
these
to
we're
add.
going to put them in the grass
We're gonna put
around
those
it.
in the grass.
We're going to put these on the table with
Yes.
it. And we even bought some moss
To add
that
as
we
a
might go ahead and soak in water and add on the or just put on the table to make it just more festive. It is so fun when it's all kind of nestled in there. I'm going to run up and check on an egg casserole.
All right.
And we've got some fun tablecloths you're going to put out, and we're going to set the tables. Okay, I can smell the eggs and sausage. I think it's completely ready. Let's pull it out of the oven because it's time to put the French toast in the oven. Oh my gosh, these look so good. Oh, I think they're perfect. So again, we're going to put the French toast in for about 15 minutes, let it brown a little bit, but I'm going to put tinfoil over to cook for the remaining 5 minutes. So here we go. In the meantime, let's start setting the tables. It is chilly. You know, yesterday when we were going through things, it was so warm. We were sweating when we were getting ready, and now it is chilly. So I hope it warms up in time for the brunch. So I need to find a sweater. Oh, it is windy. I'm hoping this wind dies down, or at least the walls protect us a little bit.
Yes.
It is.
And thank you for ironing the tablecloth last night.
You are welcome.
Ruth. I appreciate it.
Ironing is not one of my skills either, but hopefully
But
it
a white
works.
tablecloth sets a pretty table.
So, and I love this particular white table. It's like a hem stitch, right?
Yes.
On the
and
end.
It's just a little detail, but it's just such a pretty.
I've never even put a tablecloth on this table.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
we're sort of
it's so
dressing
fun.
up our little space down here.
It does dress it up.
The table is a blank canvas, and I just feel like it's really important to set the mood. Like we knew we wanted to sit down here with the beautiful stone wall.
And I do want to bring up on setting the canvas, these were filled with succulents left over from last year. Some of them didn't make it through the winter, and you said, let's make them feel like Easter. And you literally plopped in jars. We went to Home Depot yesterday. We plopped in jars with some water and grabbed stuff in the yard and grabbed stuff at Home Depot, and you made it just feel, you know,
just springy.
Springy.
And I'm not a lover of succulents, so we left some hanging down just for
Maybe that's why when I said, let's go buy some more succulents, you're like, no.
So anyway, it just gives a nice little pop. And Ruth has so many beautiful daffodils in her yard, which makes it really easy to put that in there. The table really became something that was important to me a couple of years ago when we downsized and there was no dining room table. And I realized the table has more importance than just a place to eat, but there's been years that we've spent feeding our family, playing games, doing family discussions, good or bad. The table is just such an important part of our family and our life. And all of us need to spend more time with the family. I mean, nowadays, You don't have, the younger generation is busy with technology, a lot of activities, busyness, sports, that you miss gathering at the table. I grew up where my mother had us at the table every single night. I mean, it was Monday night was spaghetti, Tuesday night was chicken casserole. It was the same thing.
I love that you still remember.
Every week,
Yeah.
but we were always gathered at the table. And we did that with our family, and I just think it's really important. When you're 45 inches apart,
Yeah.
you have conversations that you don't have anywhere else.
Yes.
So that's just, so I became passionate about trying to
Reclaim.
the table. And it
Yes.
can be pretty, it can be fancy, and it's so intentional when you invite people into your home. You are making them feel really special because you've done
1000%.
something that they know has taken time and you've thought about.
You've thought about
And
them.
you want them in your house, whether it's pizza or whether it's just any kind of gathering, a fancy gourmet dinner with filet mignon.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
we're going to put these chargers out.
Yes, and as I started to say about chargers, these are such elegant ones, but I have everything from rattan to paper to, you know, you can do anything you want to, so it makes it work on the table.
Okay.
And then, of course, the hair in China set
Okay.
up.
Oh, it's so pretty.
So pretty. It really does look pretty out here,
I
Ruth, with
know.
the
And when the wind gust dies down, it's like really nice.
all right.
Okay.
And this is not silver. This is just silver plate, and it's not expensive. And I think I picked it up somewhere along the way. It does not have
There's a good weight to it, though.
but it's heavy. It's nice, but it does not have a dessert fork to go with it. But
Okay.
it has a salad fork. But you can use that as a dessert fork and a salad fork. All right, there. All right, give me those. Yes, thank you.
Oh, these are the dessert forks.
But
No,
you know what? They can be salad forks.
they're going to
Just
be
use them as
salad forks. And your salad fork goes outside of your regular fork.
Exactly.
Okay. I should be giving my son Anders this lesson.
Oh.
Does the knife go
On the right hand
towards
side,
the-
it faces the plate. Yes,
faces
correct.
the plate? I always face it away. I've been doing it wrong. All right.
Okay, somebody's missing a salad fork.
Somebody's, I think it's this. No.
Nope, that's not it right there.
Right. Okay.
All right.
I'm going to go get the little goblets.
All right.
Now, do you usually put water in these? Wine?
I do, and no, water. Strictly
Okay.
water. I didn't even put my iced tea in it, just strictly water.
So I have to tell you a funny story. I was in a wedding many, many years ago, and I was in Charlotte at my friend's wedding, and I was seated next to her grandmother. And I finished my meal, put my fork and knife down, and I proceeded to have a conversation with her. And she says, "Oh, honey." And I said, "What, ma'am?" And she goes, "That's not how it's done." And I said, what's not done? And she goes, "You don't lay things like that."
No.
And she taught me that when you were done, you had to lay them
Exactly, on the plate.
just like
Exactly.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That shows them that you're finished.
I was finished.
Yes.
All sorts of things you learn, and whether you ever do them again or not.
Right.
It's good to know that when you're in certain company, they care about it. All right, I will grab the green glasses.
Yes, please.
Okay. And I'll get the other tablecloth.
And the candles.
Okay. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When, because this happens to me a lot, I'll put a candlestick in the candle holder and it doesn't stand. Do you have any recommendations for people?
Yes. I tried melting the candle in it. I've tried putting plastic around it, which is, this one has plastic around it, just saran wrap, which helps.
Which helps.
And then at Hobby Lobby and Michael's, they have the
Is it the little wax
wax.
things?
Mhm.
Okay.
And I
you
didn't
can
bring
just,
them, but yes, that's
no
usually
worries.
what I have.
Okay. I can get a match and we can light the bottoms. Now, where do you put this glass? Is this
Yes.
for juice or?
Usually, this is going to be for wine, and usually I put it inside the water. But as you can see, we have loaded the table up with lots of pretty things. I know we really weren't going to make it an Easter table, but I do like a few little eggs
Oh, I love that.
going on the table.
We still haven't done the kids' table, so let's go on over there and get that taken care of. So we decided to put the kids' table a little separate from the adults so they can have fun, and we chose this little spot in the ruins.
And how about the little chickens? Are they not
Oh,
adorable?
they're adorable.
They fit your whole motif out here.
Oh, motif. Okay, Lynn,
Yes.
guests arrive in a few minutes. Let's go change so that we can greet everybody. I'll
Okay.
get everything out of the oven.
Perfect.
All right, table is done. I love it.
Okay.
This might be the cutest kids' table I've ever seen.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, I love you. Hi, girl. Look how big you are. I know you hear that all the time. Hi. How are you? Can I have a hug? Yes. So I have something for you guys to do. I am gonna go change. Okay, so this is your basket. Not yours because it has a blue bow.
Walker, look.
Walker, look.
This is yours.
You're gonna go collect eggs in this.
Thank
Put
you.
your eggs in there, Walker.
have
Now
to
you wanna
hold the
grab this?
basket.
There you go. You. And you get one. And they're all over inside of here, okay? All right, I'm gonna go change. All right. Heavenly Father, thank you so much. Thank you for what Easter represents to us. Thank you for dying on the cross. Thank you for your resurrection. Bless this food to our bodies, and we love you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Cheers to
Cheers.
life.
Yes, Jay. Cheers. Cheers.
You really saved it. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you so much for coming. This meant the world to me. You drove all the way from Charlotte, so thank
Ruth,
you.
What a
No,
blessing.
To-
What a fun
I
thing.
love bringing people together who know how to do things better than me. But if you had to leave people who see the beautiful tables that you set with one thought, what would it be?
My first thought is you can make a table beautiful, you can make a table simple, you can eat on paper plates, and it's really not about what it looks like. Even though I love the fluff and I love the layering, it's truly about the people that you gather, and everybody wants to be invited. And I really feel like, and right now, the world is so divisive and separated that we need to come together and we need to invite people into our homes, because when they come into their home, into your home, they see who you really are and what you value. And that's such an important thing. And, you know, I will say that the presence of the Lord at the table is just, is the lining, is the silver lining. Because if you walk away from that, then you've missed the whole reason that you and I both have really come into this little venture. And so,
I think you said something once very similar to my mom
And my mom told me, Ruth, it's not about perfection or performance, it's about people.
It is.
And it's about loving people well. And I think you do that, whether the scale is really high end or paper plates and pizza.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for doing it. Oh, wait, one other question. I am not letting you leave this table.
Okay.
How can people find you?
All right. The best way to find me is The Table by Lynn Pitts. And you can DM me or message me or anything there to find me. But
On
that's
Instagram?
On Instagram. It's
The
easiest
Table
way.
by LYNNPITTS.
That's it.
And
by
you're
Lynn
in
Pitts.
Charlotte, and you can go anywhere around Charlotte.
Yes. And I
Okay.
can do anything. I can come and go. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you.
Okay.